Panic time in Jacksonville. The team is starting to spiral. Trevor Lawrence is regressing. Doug Pearson looks absolutely lost out there and disinterested. And just like in San Francisco, Trent Baalke fucking sucks. I know it's bulky. I just don't care to say it right now. Welcome to the RFL show. My name is Emmett Swart. This is Brendan Ford. We have a combined 30 years of experience between us. But B, let me ask you this question. Should the Jaguars wholesale fire right now? Get rid of everyone. Everyone's gone. What do you think?
Dude, leave the whole staff in London after they come back. I think it's done. They're 1-5 right now. Season's over. They have to rebuild. So start fresh, man. Burn it all down. Start over. Start fresh. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And this just seemed to be a string of bad hirings after bad hirings. I mean, again, as a 49ers fan, I'm a little bit privy to some information that maybe Jaguars fans weren't at the time, or someone like yourself as a Bears fan wouldn't know. But Trent Baalke was absolutely terrible for us. He was our GM, I think, in late 2000s to about 2014, 2016. I mean, he took an excellent roster. He had a good few years there of drafting with Alden Smith and so on and so forth, and absolutely decimated it because of his ego. Got rid of Jim Harbaugh. A couple years later, after hiring two terrible head coaches, was gone. And every 49er fan knew at the minute he was hired, this was a terrible hiring for Jacksonville, and it was going to lead to the decimation of that team. 2 years later, this is where we're at. It's a dead roster. It's a dead team. I mean, there's a couple good picks. We can argue that Brian Thomas Jr. was a good pick. He's a good player. But everything outside of that's been a real big fucking head scratcher. Aiden Hutchinson, they passed on in order for
Travon Walker.
Travon Walker. Yeah, it's time for the sale. It's get rid of everyone, fire everyone, leave them in London. Like they said, I personally, if I'm Shad Khan, I'm giving him one more week because you're already in London and it's going to be tough to bring someone over there. It'd be kind of fucked. So I would at least let them play their next game, London game, but then on the plane back, you're informing everyone they're being dismissed.
I got one person who can coach for them right now in London. Ted Lasso. Sorry, I had to. Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso, the legend Ted Lasso. Come on.
I thought honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought you were gonna say Kurt Warner there for a second because Kurt Warner announced the game last week. He's obviously in London, or at least was in London. I don't know if he's still there.
That would have been a good coach or a good joke. My joke was bad, but it's fine. It's cool. Let's move on.
that's just, we're gonna cut that. Anyway, we're on the grand time for whole sale, firing of everyone. We've already kind of started seeing this process happen out. I think they were traded defensive tackle to Seattle for a 2026 sixth-round pick. We clearly know that at this point the Jaguars are going to be sellers. We know the season's kind of lost. The question now becomes, how much should they sell? Should we see them move on from a guy like a Travon Walker? Is it that bad, or what should we expect to see them potentially move on? Or what do they even have to move on with?
Yeah, so that's the funny part, because seeing as though they're 1-5, their roster kind of sucks. So I did pull up some data here for some of their players who will be free agents in 2025. With the logic being, if there are on the last year of their deal, they might want to try to move them now to get something rather than nothing before the actual trade deadline. So some names that pop off the screen to me: left tackle Cam Robinson, somewhat of a bigger name. Looks like his current average per year payout is like $17.5 million. So a team would have to be in, I don't want to say desperate need, but like you're not getting like a no name guy there. You're getting like a bigger name, someone who can plug and play right there. He's 30 right now, so again, he's not super young, but he's a guy who I would probably trust for the most part at left tackle, even though his PFF grades aren't super stellar right now. His total offensive blocking score is 69.2. So again, not great, but could be a byproduct of the team, right? The entire team sucks. So keep that in the back of your mind. Second name, Brandon Sharif. I always say his last name wrong. I hope I said it right there. Right guard for the Jags. Again, another older guy. He's 34, so this is really a true like plug and play right now, right? If you're training for lineman right now, you got some people hurt. You're a team potentially that's in like the mix. You know, maybe like a team like the Bears. Wink, wink. You know, Nate Davis sucks. He's benched. We need a right guard. So, hey,
had to plug it in, huh?
I'm just throwing it out there, Ryan Poles. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. So I had to plug that in. Last name I got is safety Andre Cisco. We talked about him last year. He is a safety, and yeah, you know, safety play is pretty bad right now, but his play is a little bit worse. His play right now, his overall defensive grade is 54.5. So you may be saying to yourself, why would you want Andre if his grade is so bad? He's playing poorly. Again, because that entire defense sucks, right? So if the front's, you know, 10 people in front of you, you know, you're playing safety, so you're like, you know, you're back there. The front 10s also suck. You're also gonna suck too. And he's only 25 right now. You can get him for pretty cheap, I would say. I think his total guarantee for this year, let me look again, 1.1 million. So you're not giving any premium draft pick. You can probably get him for like almost like a 7th round pick, honestly. If they're actually trying to like sell. So those are 3 names I got: Cam Robinson, Brandon Sharif, or Sharif, however you say his last name, and then Andre Cisco.
Yeah, you know, I will say this too. To your point of, hey, maybe the team's all down. You know, Andre Cisco, this is seeming to be an uncharacteristically bad year. You know, for example, this year his NFL passer rating when targeted is 123.5, but the 2 years prior, both those grades were sub 85, which would put him among the top of all safeties. As for passing grades or defensive grades, he has 68.9 and 67.7. Yada, 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 so on and so forth. So clearly a better player than what we're seeing this year, and that could just be the effects of playing around bad players, the way the season's going, getting taken advantage. So I agree with that. And it's all a product of you know, it's economic supply and demand. And these guys all play positions that there's not a whole lot of supply. I mean, it's not a secret that O-line play in the league is down. It's been down for a while, and it's tough to find new guys. You know, like you already mentioned, the Bears need a new right guard. The 49ers, I could argue, you know, maybe not a right guard, but right tackle or center. You know, and that's just our favorite teams. There are plenty of other teams. We just talked about a couple of videos ago, the Patriots need a whole new offensive line. I'm sure they'd be dying to have a guy like Brandon Sharif or Cam Robinson. So there's absolutely teams that need improvement in offensive line play that are going to be willing to pay a little bit above average for guys like that might be having a down year. And even Andre Cisco, I mean, we've mentioned countless times of the Bills and the Bengals absolutely being decimated in the secondary, just being taken advantage of, picked apart. You know, how much could a guy like Andre Cisco come in and fill a need? You know, play with, you know, improved talent around him, you know, the renewed fire, desire of a, you know, new head coach, whatever it could be, and get back up to the level of expectation we normally have for guys like that. You know, how much could a guy like Andre Cisco help the Bengals or the Bills in a playoff run? I'm going to give you one more name that maybe a little bit under the radar. I don't think you're going to be blowing anyone away. It might be a future 5th round pick or whatever. But Jeremiah Ledbetter, he's a guy that's going to be a free agent this year. He's a backup. I think he's playing like 31% of their snaps. But he's a run stuffer, and this is why I think he might be someone who might be a target of interest, because there are plenty of teams, for example, the Seahawks, 49ers, another team that need to improve their run defense, and this guy is a run stuffer. And 54 rush defensive snaps, he's got 7 stops. So what is that? Almost 7% of the no. One of every 7 opportunities he gets, he's making a play in the backfield. You know, that's an underrated guy that you can get for a 5th round pick this year or 6th round pick this year that could come in and give you some good snaps and could make a couple key plays and bolster a weakness on a defense. So I think there should be sellers. I don't think we need to go as far as saying, hey, they need to move on from like a guy like Travon Walker or anything like that. But if you have some guys that are going to be free agents after this year that you probably don't have a whole lot of interest in re-signing because they're having down years, like Cisco, like Robinson, like Sharif, might as well get something for it. There are teams that are going to be absolutely desperate for those kind of guys, and that's just going to help out that new GM that's going to come in to improve that roster with better draft picks. And this is going to be a deep draft, right? I think, for the very least, tackle. I don't know about the full offensive line, but at least tackle. So you can find an easy replacement with a high pick that the Jaguars are clearly going to have. But that does lead me to the last question, because we're talking about trading away, linemen for a franchise quarterback. What does this all mean for Trevor Lawrence? New head coach, new GM, and potentially maybe missing a couple of front pieces here.
I mean, he's just in a really tough spot. I mean, there's nothing for him to do or go. I mean, obviously they just paid him, so it would be crazy to say they're gonna move on from him, right? At this point, you're just on the roller coaster. Like, smile and wave, because you're on there for a long time, my friend. Like, there's nothing, like, he's just stuck in like purgatory. Honestly, there's nothing that he can really do besides go out there and just brave out the storm, and hopefully maybe they can get back to being like an average football team. But there's nothing. I mean, there's literally nothing. I mean, we saw this past game against the Bears. There was a bunch of clips going around that his receivers dropped 4 touchdown passes. Like, that's what's going on right now. He's putting the ball there, and they're just not catching it. And that's pretty much the entire symptom of the team. That's what's been going on for this entire season, and there's not much that he can really do.
Yeah, and I'll take it one step further. First of all, I want to dispel some of that video there. I think I was told that 3 of those plays were on the same drive, but we watched the game.
It's fake.
Fake news. No, I'm just kidding. But we obviously watched the game. We saw that not only was there obviously dropped touchdown opportunities, but there's balls that Trevor Lawrence underthrew. There's balls that he just missed or Breezy missed. But that's all whatever. But this could honestly be a blessing in disguise for Trevor Lawrence. Yes, it'd be his 3rd head coach. Yes, it'd be his 3rd offense. But if you can bring in one of these, as we kind of already talked about in a couple of videos, one of these younger guys that are really rising through the ranks quick, Bobby Slovic, Ben Johnson, even like a Clint Kubiak from the Saints. We've seen how much of these new age offensive coordinators can improve quarterbacks everyone thought was dead. I mean, everyone thought Derek Carr was dead this season. They thought this is a terrible sign. There's no way this guy's going to keep playing. He's going to be the backup by whatever the week is. And Clint Kubiak came in, and all of a sudden Derek Carr looks like a top 10 quarterback. He looks like, I won't say Drew Brees, because obviously not the same exact play style, but he looks like a brand new quarterback there in New Orleans. So we've seen how much an improved offensive coordinator or improved offensive mind can change a quarterback. And this could be a great opportunity for Trevor Lawrence to finally get the right guy for him that allows him to play his best ball.